Quick, someone go and get Alexa, because Starscream has returned. Given his fate in the Armada series, don't you reckon this is a great Loki-esque way to re-explore the character? Multiverse, man. You can do what you want. Now this, my friends, is one good-looking toy robot. Look at that face sculpt. Look at him mean mugging it. With the grey paint app that they've added to the face, it really adds to the whole Armada cartoon vibe of him. Top shelf. Well played. He's got all the right accents that you kind of want picked out. It's really hitting on all those old-school Armada notes in just all the right ways. And for a modern Voyager, can I just say, there is like real minimum hollow. And anywhere that is hollow is sculpted so it feels like, you know, machine parts. Even back of the legs, you get these covers that look a little bit like the Necronomicon if it was a robot face on a book. But it's covered. Even the underside of his wings, which are hollowed out, still have some nice sculpt for that, you know, Mecha Live, Real Tech, Robo business. Just look at that, would you? He looks incredible. This would honestly have to be one of my all-time favorite iterations of Starscream. Like, you know, Armada just recycled a lot of names without necessarily reusing a lot of the personalities, but what was really cool about Armada Starscream is, whilst he still questioned Megatron's authority and was a spanner in the works, he was actually a truly noble warrior.
Your problem is you have a conscience. You don't have the stomach to finish the fight because you play by the rules. Well, then you'll never come out on top, Starscream.
So all of his undercutting of Megatron wasn't for his own evil ends, it was, you know, to be the one true honourable Decepticon. And he does it so well. His arc in that show, say what you will about Armada, but Starscream had some amazingly fleshed out characterization that led to, you know, befriending Earthlings in the form of Alexa and ultimately sacrificing himself to prove to Megatron that Unicron was the real deal and he had no choice but to work with Optimus Prime. So he was fundamental in saving the day. That's a new one for old Scream Boy, huh? In terms of articulation, he can throw some really quite exceptional shapes. So his head is on a pretty good ball joint, so you can get him, you know, looking down, questioning whether the Decepticon way is really the way.
This is the way.
And then you can also get a really good range up so he can come flying at you to deliver some righteous justice. It's got the kind of clearance where he's got some real gravitas to him. The wings pivot as well as folding in and out, which is pretty handy for throwing shapes. These shoulders, they fold up like that. Double bended elbows that go all the way up. No wrist swivel, which is a bit of a bummer, but double elbows, bicep joint. You can get him throwing the shapes you need him to. His waist is on a swivel, and if you cheat it, you can get a full 360, but you can still get a pretty good pivot out of it. It's enough for most poses that you're wanting to throw. You can also have these all the way out if you want, or you can taper them back, make it a little bit more streamlined. I like to have them folded back. Universal hips with a thigh swivel, and then he could have deeper knees, like the sculpt and everything allows for it, but once you throw on this space filler, obviously it's cutting out a little bit, but he can still get past 90, which in my opinion is very respectable. He's got an okay tilt on his little shoes. You can go a little bit forward, quite a bit back. All in all, what it adds up to is being able to throw some awesome, I'm about to land, I'm about to take off, you don't know what I'm doing, but I'm looking good doing it. So the accessories on this Starscream are probably the one aspect of this figure that don't thrill me. They're more of a nod to former functionality rather than any kind of adequate, actualized update to what it used to be packing. So obviously back in the day, right, this sat all the way up so that you could bam, minicon, and that would bam, flick these forward. I don't super lament the loss of that as a feature. It still more or less does what that feature did. It would have been nice if there had just been a port, right? Because then you could still attach a Micromaster and it would still feel kind of cool. When it comes to wielding those wicked wing blades like he used to have, like if you've never seen the figure, these pieces used to detach and you could unfold it and it was a super sick sword. In lieu of that, we now have a sword that kind of looks like that wing sword. So you can still kind of make him do it, which is nice. But it would have really blown me away if you had that as a detachable piece. That was still part of the wing transformation. The other thing he comes with is an approximation of the Starsaber, again, is nice. He did wield it for quite a while, but it feels a little bit undersized to me. And whilst it's nice that it's kind of, you know, kept a mix of the sort of toy and show sculpting, it could be better, right? It really could be better. Personally, I think it's much more fun to go ahead and give him Shatterglass Starscream's dual blades. So this is the part in proceedings where normally I'd show you some comparisons alongside the mold originator, his forefather, the actual Armada Starscream, but sadly, I don't own it. So in the interim, failing that, we'll have to make do with the look at Studio Series 86 Starscream. This is going to upset a lot of people. This is a cooler toy. I mean, G1 is obviously G1 and sacred above all things, but if someone was like, you can only have one of these two toys, I would go for Armada Starscream. And it wouldn't actually be that difficult a choice. I can kind of show you his second time out in plastic, when we got another go around with a Thrilling 30 line. This does look like it was a pretty cool toy, but here's a figure that definitely does better with a little bit more breathing room. I do think this does come off that little bit cooler than the last run, and it's not in its package, so I can actually play with it. And just for the hell of it, why don't we peep him alongside Armada Megatron, old and new. I think I read somewhere in some leaked listings that we're getting another pass at Armada Megatron. Not that there's anything wrong with either of these guys, but just based off the strength of this Starscream update, I hope that is still the case. So, let's do this jet thing, shall we? Flip, twist, fold the wings forward, up and in, tab, port, collapse. Lift and peg, detach and raise, body back, head down. If you get it just right, this piece will pop up. Almost hidden head. Fold out these space fillers, fold the heels in, tuck the feet down, up and in. Fold both covers around, and you should get enough room to tab these together. Here he is, it's a plane, Zoom, fly. Ace McCloud, daring aeronautical expert. It doesn't look great. It's hard to imagine what these arms would actually be for on a plane. But that's how it was, so that's how it is. Cybertronian. It's not bad. That's more or less what he looked like, eh? You can't say it's wrong, because it's from another planet. I think it looks pretty cool. It's got the vibe, it's got the flavor. It is weird there being no tail sort of fin. I know it didn't have it, but it still just feels strange for a plane. You can, bam, smash those cannons forward, pacha. So whilst he may not be Minicon compatible, he is Blast Effect compatible. Pew pew pew. Hey, oh, shooty bang bang, shooty bang bang, we love you. He does have weapon storage, but it's that super lame-o weapon storage that plane bots often have, where it's like, you can clip a sword under his wing. That's cool, isn't it? You can even take his wing blade and put it under his wing as a blade. It's coming full circle. So, you know, cause that doesn't look good, I probably won't do that very often. So, is Legacy Armada Starscream a must-have for your collection? Yes. Short answer, yes. Whether you're just a Jet fan, an Armada fan, a Mets fan, a Van Damme fan, or a Starscream stan, this is going to look awesome in any collection. And I like what it says about the potential of getting more Armada stuff. More Unicron Trilogy in general. Bring it on. Get amongst it. Hashtag Armada Wheeljack. Hashtag Energon Landmine. Yeah. I'm throwing a new one in the mix. What did you think? Are you as excited as I clearly was about getting this guy in the collection? I'm really happy with how he turned out. I do want to know what you think though, so be sure to like, subscribe, click, hit me up in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's get nerdy with it.